There's a vacancy this morning for a chairman of the Football Association after Greg Clarke's resignation. And one of the names that's been suggested is none other than Gary Lineker, who, like a number 9 bus, didn't come on this programme for 5 years. And now we have you twice in a week.
You kept telling me, Gary Lineker, it was too early in the morning for you.
Did you like it so much last week you couldn't wait to come back?
It is too early for me. I'm not a morning person. But it's not that early, though. It's 8:30.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. You're not doing too badly for
Gary,
not a morning person.
It's very timely to have you again today because this story about the FA chairman exposing himself as an old dinosaur by being sort of casually racist, sexist and homophobic and having to leave his job. First, what was your reaction to that? And second, your name was suggested by Stan Collymore and others as a potential replacement. Yeah. Somebody should be like you, who's younger, been there, done it, and has a much greater affinity, perhaps, with a sensitivity around all these issues. You responded that you'd never even been asked by anybody at the top of the FA for your views about almost anything, which I found absolutely extraordinary. So first, your reaction to the Clarke scandal, and second, would you be interested in the job?
Well, first, I've known Greg for a long time, and he's done quite a lot of good with diversity at the FA. But he had an awful day yesterday. In fact, he's had a tough year with other things, with the Premier League top 6 story, etc. So he's moved on now. Now they're looking for somebody else. I'm not a great organiser. I don't think I'll be very good at that role anyway. And obviously, I have other jobs in football. But no, I've kind of never been asked for my views on anything by our governing bodies. And I think the problem with football is that we do have 3 governing bodies, one of the many problems, in terms of how we run things. And that is a problem because they sometimes work against each other's interests. And until we come together as one and unite, and we've got the Premier League, the Football League and the Football Association, all singing from the same hymn sheet. See, I can't speak in the morning. I don't think we'll get things sorted out because it's very difficult.
I mean, it remains extraordinary to me that you have a sport that's so diverse now, with so many of the top players being black or other nationalities coming here, and yet the hierarchy are almost exclusively old white guys. There's no black chairman or owner or Premier League manager. There's no reflection of any of what's going on the pitch in terms of talent coming up through the ranks of the power base.
Yeah, totally agree with that, and hopefully things will change in the near future. Yeah, lots of old white men like me, and it's nice of you to say a younger man like me earlier, Piers. That's a very great compliment.
It's about the only context in which you would be a younger guy, because as we know, you are heading, actually very soon, you are heading to a rather big birthday, aren't you?
Yes, 2020, I call it, if you add those together.
When's your birthday?
Yeah, so November the 30th.
And you'll be how old?
2020.
I know.
Do the maths, Piers. Do the maths.
No, I want you to say the actual age. Come on.
60.
You will be officially in a different decade to me.
I might be old enough to qualify for the FA at some point.
Gary, you're on to talk about the Trussell Trust. Tell us about this.
Yeah, the Trussell Trust is something I've actually supported on previous occasions. They're being backed by Walkers this Christmas. They've got a new, you'll like this one, sausage roll crisps and Piers.
Are they real sausages?
I don't know. Let me try one. Hang on. Well, they taste like real sausages, Piers. So, yeah.
Could be vegan sausages. So. They taste the same.
No,
Gary, just to explain, Trussell Trust runs food banks, doesn't it? Which is
food banks.
Which is so critical right at this moment when we're going through a financial crisis.
Very much so. And apart from 5p a pack that Walkers are giving to the Trussell Trust from the sausage roll flavors crisps, they're also giving £1 million. So it actually is a really great thing to help all the, many of the homeless, many of the hungry over the period coming up. So it's great to see they're actually getting behind that.
Gary, at the start of the pandemic, Matt Hancock went public and gave a dig at footballers. The Health Secretary said they should do their bit. And we've really seen some of them rise to that challenge spectacularly, led, of course, by Marcus Rashford, a 22-year-old kid, who grew up in abject poverty. He's become an England and Man United star, but he's changed the world for 1.5 million kids in this country. in a way that you just could never have imagined. What do you make of Rashford?
I think he's extraordinary. What he's done for 20, well, he's just turned 23, I think, isn't he? But he's a fabulous footballer, obviously. But what he's done off the field is quite remarkable. Obviously, forced a couple of U-turns from the government and got them to back him as well, which is hugely important. For a young man to have that much maturity makes me proud of our young footballers. Obviously, we've had others like Raheem Sterling and Wes Morgan and Troy Deeney that have spoke up about Black Lives Matter and things like that. And it's good to see young footballers using their platform for good. And they have a big platform. They are influential. We shouldn't be judgmental if they don't do that, because they are very young men. You and I, Piers, we have young men, we know what they're like.
Yeah.
And it's a remarkable display and brave as well, I hasten to add, because to put your head on the pedestal like that, like something that Marcus has done, takes bravery, because you play 2 or 3 bad games. I mean, believe you me, people will go on just say, stick to football. You shouldn't be doing the other stuff.
They say that to you, don't they?
I applaud him. I applaud him. I'm very proud of him. Well,
you're also, I know you're very proud of your grandfather, and they're going to repeat your show, My Granddad's War, tomorrow night, I think, on BBC Two at 9 o'clock. Originally shown, of course, last year, but it's the armistice anniversary today, of course. What did making that programme about your grandfather tell you about that generation, and in particular, what lessons perhaps we could learn from that as we go through our own weird war right now?
Yes, I mean, comparing the two is very difficult, because war is one thing and fighting obviously a pandemic is another. It humbled me. It made me realise. I mean, I think we all know what they went to a degree, but actually going through it and looking back to the history of it, and my granddad's participation in the Second World War, particularly in the Italian campaign. It was funny, when it went out a year ago, you know what social media is like, the both of you. And but this was like universally, for the first time I can ever remember, that people were immensely positive and they really loved the programme. And it was a campaign that we're not that well educated about. And we all know about D-Day, but this kind of D-Day usurped the Italian campaign, the incredible bravery of the troops. I mean, it was unbelievably emotive to do it, and I think it's certainly the most important thing I think I've ever done on television.
Well, it was really powerful. We've got to leave it there, Gary. But now we've established the pattern, we'll see you next Wednesday.
Yeah, I might be around. Always available.
You've obviously got nothing else to do at home, have you?
Now your alarm clock is set for early.
I think they're just priming me up for your job, Piers.
Gary,
that would be nice.
Gary, they couldn't afford you.
No. Do you want a job swap?
I wouldn't mind, actually. It's about time the nation had my football views as well as everything else.
Too early.
Good to talk to you, mate.
I tell you what, Gary, I'll do the early shift, and then if you just come in at 8:30, you can just do the last half hour. I'm fine with that.
Well, we could do it together, couldn't we? Jugs and tubs.
No.
It could be really popular.
I'm not so sure.